Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Just Saying. I'm Robin Battles, and this episode is going to be titled The Refrigerator Incident. So let me give you the backstory. As a listing agent, when we list a property, we have in our contract what's included and what's excluded. And, most of the time, appliances are included with the sale of the house. But on occasion, as is this case, the refrigerator was marked as an exclusion because the seller says to me, "Hey, Robin, I just bought that refrigerator. It was a lot of money. I want to exclude it from the sale." Well, okay, great. So I put it in the contract. Refrigerator is excluded. So now, fast forward, offer comes in. We negotiate the offer. And I miss that the buyer has asked for the refrigerator. So, of course, I pick up the phone and explain to the buyer, "Hey, my mistake. The refrigerator is excluded from the sale." And the buyer says, "Well, okay, let me talk to my wife, let her know what's going on." And they give me a call back and they say, "We're really sorry, but we're buying this house as a rental. And that appliance being there already saves us a couple $1,000s." And I'm like, "Okay. So what do you want as the resolution? I can go back to the seller and see if they'll leave it, or I can just make this easy and I can give you a credit for what you think the value of that fridge is." And they're like, "Okay, let us get back to you." So of course they give me a call back and they say, "Hey, Robin, we'll just take a credit from you for the cost of the fridge." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll give you X amount of money for, towards your closing costs because I can't go buy them a new refrigerator. It's easy just to give them a credit." So they're fine. Fast forward, I'm back talking to the seller and I think, gosh, I really need to tell my seller what happened because they're going to see that I have reduced my commission in all of the escrow papers. And I don't think anything of it. I think, okay, I've kept their transaction together. They're happy. The buyer's happy. We're moving forward. I was not prepared for this. The seller was livid at me. "How dare I? I'm not representing their best interest. You should have come to me. I could have used that cash." And I'm thinking to myself, but you're going to have to buy a new one. I kept your price. You were paying the commission anyway. And on top of that, you're keeping the refrigerator. I would have never thought in a million years that the seller would be upset with me. So I'm upset. I'm not upset with them. I'm upset with myself thinking, hey, I've done the right thing. And, honestly, I've been doing this for a long time, but my feelings get hurt. And I'll tell you what I mean by that, because I'm trying to do always 200% trying to do the right thing. Whether I'm representing the buyer, the seller, both parties, whomever I'm representing, I think that you always function at a place of fairness and everybody feels like they're getting a win on whatever's going on. So I thought giving this buyer a credit for the refrigerator, because it's my mistake. I goofed up. I'm owning my mistake. The seller absolutely could not see that. So I take a couple of days and the seller, the wife especially, would not even look at me. She was so angry with me. And I thought, wow, I really read this completely wrong. So a few days later, I pick up the phone and I call the seller and I say, "Look, can we sit and talk about this? Because I really don't understand what I did. And I want to know what you feel I could have done differently." And so we sit down and the seller, she looks at me and she says, "Robin, I trusted you to do the right thing." And of course, that just shatters me to the core that she no longer has trust in me when I really felt I was doing the right thing. But I've got no comment. I want to hear her. I want to see her perspective. And she says, "You should have come to us first instead of just doing what you did." And so I'm listening to her and I'm saying, okay. And then I asked her, I said, "Well, tell me how you would have rather me handle this for you." And she says, I would have rather you come to us and given us the option to take the reduction in your commission because we would have left the fridge. And I'm like, okay. And I have no comeback to her. I just want to hear her. I want to see where I've gone wrong because I've created this whole issue, 100% owning that I've created this. And so I asked her after she's said what she needs to say, I said, so are you more upset about the money that I gave away? Or are you more upset that you feel I should have come to you first? And she looks at me and she says, you should have come to us first. You should have told us what all of our options were before you just made the decision for us. And in all honesty, I did not feel I was making a decision for them, but I see her point. So here's the conclusion of the refrigerator incident. The escrow did close. The sellers finally said, we're sorry we got upset with you. And I looked him in the eye and I said, your trust is what I value the most. The only thing that I have in my job and in the sale of real estate is my reputation, which I value more than anything. So I would rather lose your business than lose your trust or lose anything in my reputation. So I'm just saying, even though you think you're doing the right thing, it doesn't mean you always are. And from this point on, and this happened about 3 years ago, from this point on, regardless of how small the hiccup is, especially if it's a hiccup that I caused, I always go back to the client I'm representing and say, hey, this is what happened, and explaining it, telling them their options, because, even after 35 plus years in the business, I can learn something. So I'm just saying, I ate a lot of crow that day for a very, very good reason. And this was all about a refrigerator. I hope you enjoy the story and understand the significance of it's not always the refrigerator. I'm just saying it's about how you handle the refrigerator. Until next time, make it a great day. Leave me comments or send me questions. I'm Robin Battles, and I'm just saying.